Right, this is our top 11 outside the big six. For those of you who are going to debate it, the big six we're classing as Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, City, United, and Liverpool. Let's get cracking. We'll start off, as always, with the goalkeepers. I went for Jordan Pickford. Do you guys agree, or did you pick someone else?
Nope, I went with the World Cup winner, Martinez from Villa. I think overall he's just absolute class and better than some of the big six keepers.
Yeah, fair point. Reece?
Yeah, I've gone Martinez myself. I think Pickford's a good keeper, but I think we knew he was a good keeper. I think Martinez has really excelled in his career when he was playing a bit role at Arsenal. So even though he's not everyone's cup of tea, I think we can't knock how much he's achieved. So it has to be Martinez.
Cool. Let's move on to Reece. We'll come back to you. Who have you gone for your two centre-backs?
Two centre-backs. This might surprise a few people, or it might not. My first one shouldn't be much of a shock. Was a inclusion in England's Euro squad and was very, very good when he did play, and that's Mark Guy, or Guy, however you want to pronounce it. I do apologise. Could be going to Newcastle by the end of the transfer window and would be a huge loss if Palace let him go. But you can't knock how brilliant he has been. And I think he could do the job for pretty much any team in the Premier League and for a lot of the elite teams across the continent.
Who's your other one?
It's a very good point. The suspense there. I've actually gone for a player a bit outside the box, but I'm sure a lot of fans of this particular club will agree. I've gone Murillo at Nottingham Forest. He has been so good for Nottingham Forest. He is a hero at the club. He has gone so under the radar. He deserves a lot of credit. He is putting in 7, 8, out of 10s each game. And if we look at how much better not Forest are defensively, he is crucial to that. And I see him going on to a bigger club if he carries on the way he is.
All right. Interesting. Jamie, who did you go for your two centre-backs?
So I agree with Reece on Guehi. I think he's obviously just started to go up that level, showed it for us in the Euros. Might be a bit of recency bias, I think, possibly from us there, but I think he is still a quality player. And the other one will be someone he will be pairing up with if he does make that move to Newcastle, and that's Cher. I think he's a quality defender. Okay, ignore the first game of the season where he's done his little headbutt, but actually defending-wise, I think he's really, really good, and he shows it when he goes to the international tournaments as well. So yeah, he's my second pick.
All right, so we all disagree then. So I've gone Guehi as well. Obviously been phenomenal, worth about 70 mil apparently. But I've also gone with the highly priced other English centre-back, Jared Branthwaite. Again, brilliant season. There's a reason he's being linked with moves, 60, 70 mil. And I think, he's going to be one for the future, as we've all discussed. So I think that'd be a good little pairing. English as well for that sort of ultimate team chemistry. Let's move on. So I'll stick with my right back because on that same line of thinking, with that chemistry, I've gone for the OG Trippier. Some will disagree. Some will say he's towards the end of his career. But out of all the right backs available, if there's a guy I'm picking for a big game who's been there and done it, it would still be Trippier. I think he'd link up very nicely with Guehi and Branthwaite as well. Who have you guys gone?
You really need to stop with the FIFA references, George. It does not matter in real life.
I'm building a good squad here.
To be honest, this is the position I struggled the most in. I didn't pick Trippier. I think he's unfortunately past it now. He was, if you sort of asked me last season, it was Trippier, no doubt, in this sort of without the big six. So I've actually gone with his replacement and Livramento. But I'll be honest, I'm not fully confident in picking him for this position. It was more I was struggling to pick someone else. So yeah, Livramento, but not confident pick for that one.
Both good choices. I think Trippier, as you can see, looks like he's on his way out of Newcastle, would suggest maybe they don't view him as their best right back at this moment in stage. Livramento is a very good replacement. I've actually gone for a player who neither of you have actually probably even thought of. He's played in the Premier League before. He was rumoured to be going to Tottenham. He was also rumoured to go to Bayern Munich. This is how impressive he has been, and that is Kyle Walker-Peters at Southampton. I was surprised he didn't leave the South Coast last season when they're in the Championship, and he has been one of their better players for a long time, and I think he's been absolutely brilliant, and I still think he could do a job further up the table.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see this season, I guess, if he's all the hype or not. Let's move on to left back. Reese, back to you. Who have you gone for a left back?
I've gone for another left field pick. This player registered a total of 21 assists last season. However, they were not in the Premier League. And that player is Leif Davis at Ipswich. He has been outstanding for the club. Yes, he's not had the greatest of starts, but he's had to play against, obviously Liverpool, Man City. But Leif Davis looks like a promising player for the future. And I think he will get that big move in the future. All this back four look like they're going to at one stage. But I wouldn't be shocked if he rocks up at Man City in the next couple of years. He is a fantastic player. And if you ask a lot of Ipswich fans or fans outside of that top six realm, they'll tell you how good Leif Davis has been and what he can achieve.
All right, that's pretty rogue. 2 Championship boys on the wing. I mean, they are good stats, to be fair, but he's not one I'd have gone to. For my left back, there was a few kind of in contention. I had to get some form of Chelsea player in here. I put Emerson in at West Ham. I think he's quality. He's been there and done it at a higher level. He gets forward. He's good on the ball. He can defend. So yeah, I think Emerson was the best out of the rest. Jamie, who did you go for?
Of course, you had to fit in a Chelsea sort of link somewhere, George.
Had to be done.
Surprised he wasn't English as well to fit in with the sort of back three that you've got already. And Reese, I think you're a bit early on Davis at the moment. I wouldn't say he's better than a lot of the left backs in the league. He may well be, but probably not just yet. I've gone with Ait-Nouri at Wolves. I think he's quality. I think he can have a few injury problems, but when he's playing, I think he's on his day is absolutely brilliant and can cause problems attacking wise against the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I had him written down. He was the next best. So we agree on that. Let's move into the midfield. I'll start with mine. We'll do one at a time. I've gone for Onana. Again, brilliant at Everton. He's coming to the Villa side already, looking brilliant. He can get forward. He can defend. He's got pace. He's got strength. I think he's the full package. And other clubs, bigger clubs, will link with him. And he may still end up going to one of these clubs in the end. So yeah, Onana to start off my midfield.
I'll pick my I think my strongest one, and that's Bruno Guimaraes. I think he's absolutely quality. I remember when in his first season at Newcastle, City were beating Newcastle comfortably. I think it was like it finished about 5-0, but I was still so impressed with how he plays. Now the problem he's got is he's got a hot head, and he could get sent off at any minute. But I think for actual quality purposes, he's brilliant, and I think he probably gets into nearly every midfield in the Big Six as well.
Yeah, hard to disagree. I've gone for Bruno Guimaraes as well. He guarantees you minimum 7 out of 10, gives you 110% every single game. If he's so consistent, he can tackle, he can pass, he's proven he can score. The way he's adapted to life in Newcastle has been very impressive, and he's just embraced it. And if you sign him for your club, he's going to embrace your club as well. So that factor really attributes to why I think he's also such a great player.
Well, on that note, I'll go on to my next pick because I didn't pick Bruno. And the reason why is because I picked another Newcastle midfielder who I think is criminally underrated. And for this exact reason, I think Bruno gets all the hype and this guy gets none of the hype. It's Joe Linton. He has been absolutely ridiculous for Newcastle. And he came in, I believe, as a striker. He's transitioned into this midfield role. His work rate is absolutely unbelievable, both attacking, defensively. He transitions play, as we've seen already. He gets goals, and I think he is the real MVP in that Newcastle midfield. But Bruno's the guy who gets all the plaudits and all the hype. So yeah, Joe Linton.
Well, Joe Linton's the one doing WWE moves on keepers in boxes, so it might be reason why it doesn't get the sort of plaudits he deserves, because he's fantastic, don't get me wrong.
But when Bruno does it, we're all praising him for it, and that's my literal perfect example. When Bruno does it,
I think I think it was Bruno did it last year to Arsenal, everyone was like, how's he not been sent off? It's sort of, I think they both get their sort of fair criticism for things they probably do wrong. I think Bruno's a better player. That's just my opinion, though. My second pick, though, I've gone with Paquetá at West Ham. I think the actual quality he has on the ball is brilliant. His actual work rate is fantastic. He makes so many tackles. You don't realise it, but if you look at the stats, I think he had one of the highest tackles in the league last season. The problem he's got two problems. One is his current investigation going on with betting, but less said about that. The other one is he dives a lot. He jumps around, and that's something, if he got that out of his game, I think loads of people would actually just love him as a footballer. But he does rub people up the wrong way, once again, just for his sort of theatrics that he can make. But if you set your club, you love it. If it's against you, you hate it, really. I think that's kind of the two ends of that spectrum. But I think he's a quality player.
Yeah, I was very close for going with Joelinton myself. I think Eddie Howe's transformed in dramatically, but I went for this player just because I think he does have that edge in terms of creativity and what he can do, and that is Lucas Paquetá. There's no doubt that, West Ham signing him was a big coup for him. I was a bit surprised they were able to get him, and he's proven it, how good he is, and again, he's one of those players, if you stick him in a Real Madrid or a Juventus or something like that, he's not going to look out of place, is he? So, yeah, I think he's been world class, and I think West Ham have shown. I think, was it they haven't lost or something when he played, or they rarely lose, and when he's not in the team, they tend to struggle. So, that goes to show how influential he is as a player.
Yeah, for my final midfielder, again, this is one there where people can debate. He might be in the front three, but in my opinion, he's best in the cam role. So that's why I put him there. And it's Eze at obviously Palace. Again, he's been linked with the big six sides already. I think everyone's in agreement he's potentially world class, got his England call up. And I know he can play wide, but I just think he's better in the cam role, just behind the attack. So, yeah.
I wouldn't say he's world class. I think he's very good. I think world class is probably the next level for him, but he is my third pick as well. He's in this team, and I've put him in the midfield, like Hugh Jordan. But yeah, I would say he's probably not world class yet. He could well be, but I also think the criticism he's getting at Palace at the moment is he's not able to do it without another focal point in the team, and that's the criticism I've heard from Palace fans. So I think this season, because he looks like he's staying at Palace, is a big occasion for him to show, can he go to that next level before possibly going to one of the big six sides.
Yeah, as you know, I'm a big fan of Eze. I think injuries have held him back, and I do think, why hasn't he made that move up just yet? Maybe it's injury problems, I don't know. I've actually gone for a player, I think, who, if you stick him in another bigger side, he will contribute the numbers that you're seeing from these other, the other big names. And this player is Morgan Gibbs-White. 10 assists last season in the league, which for Nottingham Forest is very, very high as they stayed up. Got the winner against Southampton, away from home. This guy's been influential, and nobody seems to be talking about how good he is. The Forest fans speak highly of him, and I understand that, but he is going to be world class if he keeps it up as it is. Wolves couldn't turn down the money for him at the time, but he has been brilliant. If you stick him in Chelsea, you stick him in City, you stick him outside, he will get the numbers that those other players are getting. So he is very, very good, and I think he's not being spoken about enough.
I think he's good. I don't necessarily agree with he'd go into a City, Chelsea, and the other sides and get the numbers. I think
That
he
guy's
could.
10 assists last season for a very poor Nottingham Forest side. Like, they didn't even really have much of an out-and-out goal scorer. Let's not forget that. So he is contributing widely. Imagine him being able to give the balls to a striker who can get you 25 goals.
Yeah, fair. I'd still, in that camera, I'd still just prefer Eze, I think, but I don't disagree. Like, he is a good player, and time will tell. I think if Forest start going up the table, I think he'll start getting a bit more credit than probably he does at the minute. Cool. Let's go on to the attackers. We'll start with the left winger. I'll kick off with mine. It's got to be Anthony Gordon for me. Like, I'll be surprised if you guys have gone anyone else personally, but we've seen, in the last season or two, how good this guy is. Work rate, output. He's just constantly picking up fouls as well. So difficult to mark. And I think if he continues at this rate, he's going to be a really, really key player for Newcastle in the coming years.
To be honest, I've actually not gone with him. He was literally it was like a coin toss with this. I've gone with Kudos at West Ham. I enjoy watching him so much. Every time I've watched him playing for West Ham, I've enjoyed it. Everything he does, he's just such an exciting player, and he produces as well. It's not like you see sort of a bit of criticisms like Doku, who's such an exciting player watching him dribble, but then misses with the end product. I think Kudos has got that as well. I think he's so important to West Ham, and without him, I think there'd be such a massive drop off. I would have him just over Gordon, but like I said, it's like 51%, 49%. It's that close. But yeah, I've just gone with Kudos. I do have a little bit of FM bias when I've signed him before in the past for my team, but yeah, he's just such an exciting player.
Yeah, to be fair, he's a baller. I can't deny that. Reece, have you gone either? Or have you gone rogue?
No, I've not gone rogue. I've actually gone Anthony Gordon. I think if we look at again how Howe has transformed him into a better player, he is a menace. He can score goals. He can, he can get past you, win you fouls, whatever you want. He's got everything, and I can see why Liverpool have been interested in him or rumored to be interested in him. As I do love Mohamed Kudus, I do, but I do think Gordon just edges it for me in terms of his general effectiveness. He is a dream of a winger at this moment in time.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's go to the right. Jamie, we'll come to you first. Who is your right winger?
I thought there wasn't many right wingers that I'd probably pick in this. The ones I was looking at was Mitoma was the other one, but I've actually gone with Kudus' other winger in Bowen. Once again, he's just a player that I like watching. I think he's very effective, and he puts in the effort. He puts in a shift as well as showing the quality he has on the ball. I may have missed someone that you two are going to mention, but I only really looked at Bowen or Mitoma for this, and I think I just picked. Well, I think I comfortably picked Bowen over him, but Mitoma was definitely in the running with me.
Yeah, no, I was in agreement. I think Mitoma's been playing on the left a bit as well, if I'm not mistaken. So he didn't really enter my mind on the right, but it was Bowen by a mile. There is a few other good wingers, to be fair, so that's probably a bit harsh. But yeah, he's been different level. He can also play up front when needed as well. He's a constant problem, and he's obviously been one of West Ham's best players. So 100% Jared Bowen for me.
Yep, full house, Bowen. I think, again, you can't knock it. This guy can score against any team in the league. That's what makes him so deadly and effective. He's always going to give you his 100% effort, which I like in a player. Like I said, he is a big game player if you need him, and he can also deliver against the other teams. That's what makes him such an effective player. He's not a penalty merchant or anything like that. He can deliver, when it matters. If you need to bring a player on, imagine him and Gordon on the wings, if you need to push for that equalizer, they're going to help you get that. So.
Cool. All right, last but not least, and I think this is quite a difficult one because there's genuinely quite a few good options here, in my opinion, is the striker. I'll kick things off. I've realised at this point I've gone for a very English squad. I've gone for Ollie Watkins. Again, banged on about him all last season. Stats don't lie at the end of the day. He's up there with the very best in the league. He can get goals. He can get assists. These are, not on pens as well. You've got to bear that in mind as well. So you could argue he should have been higher last season if he was on pens. Phenomenal player. And yeah, he absolutely deserves his place in this team.
Well, I think it was only out of 2 players, really. It was out of Watkins and Isaac, really. I've gone with Watkins. I think Isaac or Isaac, however you want to say it, is going to surpass Watkins very soon. But I think just right now, I'd pick Watkins. But like I said, once again, like I said with the sort of left wing, very, very close. I don't think if you picked either, you'd be wrong. I was surprised, Jordan, that you didn't go with Falkirk.
Too early.
What, 31 years old? Too early.
No, too early to give him, he's not played for West Ham yet, so I can't really put him in the team. But he's a baller.
Yeah, I thought you'd mention him though, at least.
Well,
I actually loved him in the Euros.
Well, we were going to say honourable mention, so maybe he can be my honourable mention. But yeah, he's a baller, and he's going to pretty soon replace Antonio.
I've actually gone different because I thought you were going to do Watkins and Isaac, one of you each. As much as I love Alexander Isaac, I've actually gone just from what I've seen of him recently. I know he hasn't scored massive amounts of goals yet, but I think if we are such stat-obsessed people, I think he will get better. I've gone João Pedro at Brighton. As shocking as that may seem, I think he's going to get better, and I've been quite impressed with him, and it's my team, so who cares?
He's looking good, but he's not been playing as the main striker, and I think that's...
No, but I think he can fill that role. I think
when Danny Welbeck's keeping you out this team as your main striker, I don't know, but I don't know about that. I don't think he's better than Watkins or Isaac, but look, yeah, like you said, it's your team. Please roast him in the comments.
Yeah, any more honourable mentions to reference before we go?
Yep, the honourable mention is the guy that he plays up front with, and that is Danny Welbeck. When he is fit, Danny Welbeck is a baller. If he stayed fit, he would have had an outstanding career. I'm sorry, but he is a ruthless finisher. He can score against any teams. He is a very, very good player. Injuries, unfortunately, really hindered his career.
He has now surpassed 100 Premier League goals.
Yeah.
So, you can't knock that at all.
No, exactly.
What about Vardy, by the way? Back in the Prem?
Yeah.
Most goals over the age of 30.
Vardy's peak was better than any of the strikers that we've mentioned, in my opinion.
Oh, he outstanding.
Even though Isaac and Watkins got incredible goals last season, you weren't the focal point to winning your team the league that was odds on to be relegated. So, yeah. So Vardy's a great honourable mention, but not anymore would he actually be the striker for this team, in my opinion.
Cool. There you have it. That wraps us up for our big non-big six starting 11. Who would you guys put as your team? Have we missed someone? I'm sure there's players we've missed here. As always, let us know in the comments below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. You know the drill.